What's happening, people? Big up to everyone. The Liverpool Prophet back again with another live stream. Hope you guys can hear me. I always have to check if the people in the chat can hear me. If you can't hear me, do let me know and I'll try and fix it up. But yeah, on a roll, people. On a roll. Back with another live stream. Big up to everyone in the chat. I see there's a couple of people here already. Big up to AFC always. Big up yourself, man. Big up, man. Appreciate you being in, bro. Big up to AJ, the legend himself. Big up to you, bro. Appreciate that. Yes, do sub to AFC always as well, people. Do sub to AFC always as well. Big up to everyone. Big up AJ. Big up AFC always. Hopefully, more people would be joining as we go on. But yeah, back with another stream. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me. But yeah, Liverpool, Liverpool. Here to discuss everything Liverpool related. So I wanted to actually discuss a little bit about our managerial situation tonight. Discuss about what the rest of the season could mean for us. In regards to where we could finish, what we could win, what it means for Slot. I want to talk a little bit about what the summer could mean for us, and then what next season could potentially mean for us as well. So yeah, having said that, we'll just start off with by discussing it all then, shall we? We'll start off with Liverpool's season as a whole, should I say? Or should we go back to last season when everything really began? I'm just trying to we'll go back to last season. So obviously Jurgen Klopp announces he's going to leave Liverpool Football Club. A big shock to everyone because I don't think any of us, especially us Liverpool fans, even rival fans, would have expected him to call it in. But in the 23-24 season, February, I remember literally I was in bed, woke up late, and that's the first thing I see when I open up YouTube. My heart just sank. It absolutely sank. It was very, very devastating news, very upsetting news. But Jurgen Klopp, unfortunately for us, was going to leave us at the end of that season. 9 years at Liverpool were going to come to an end. So it then started this whole talking point of who's going to come in next after Klopp. Because let's be honest, whoever came in after Klopp was going to have a huge, difficult job to do. Because what Jurgen Klopp did for us, what Jurgen did, turned us from a team that, let's be honest, we were mediocre. We were floating around 8th, 9th at the time. We had very, very mediocre players as well at that point. Skirtle, Ragnar Klavan, Alberto Moreno, Nathaniel Klein. These are just some I'm naming off the top of my head. Joe Allen, Markovic. There's a couple more that I'm not naming that we had. We had some very, very, very subpar, below standard footballers. Just wasn't good enough, let's be honest. And we were in a pickle when we sacked Brendan Rodgers. We all felt we were in a very, very bad situation because we were, at the time, we as Liverpool fans felt when Brendan Rodgers left that he left us in a bad position and we were going to struggle for years to come. And I think Jamie Carragher at the time, while I don't rate Jamie Carragher as a pundit, I think he talks a lot of crap when it comes to Liverpool. I think when he talks about other clubs, he actually speaks a relative amount of sense. But at the time, I think Jamie Carragher said it perfectly. He said, whoever Liverpool appoint next as their next manager is going to be a big decision. It's going to determine where the future of the club goes. If they appoint the right manager, they can start that build-up to getting back. AJ, big up yourself, man. Big up yourself, man. I will reply to you on Instagram in a minute back when I finish the live stream. But apologies that I haven't read you the message yet. But big up yourself, man. Appreciate the 8 likes, man. Appreciate the 8 likes. But yeah, Carragher said, whoever we appoint next after Brendan Rodgers, it's going to be a big appointment. It will determine whether we actually get back up there at the top and start competing again, or whether we just sink further and further into the abyss. And at the time, when Brendan Rodgers left Liverpool, because he did need to go, I'll be honest, I use Arsenal as an example. Arsenal have Mikel Arteta at the moment. He's very much like a Brendan Rodgers in the fact that he came into Arsenal. He did steady you. He has gotten Arsenal to a point where they're competing for the league, because when he took over, they were in a pretty bad situation. They weren't really competing for anything. He's gotten them to a point where they're competitive, but it now comes to a point where can he get over the line? And I look at Rodgers and Arteta and I see similarities. They had their teams competing, but they could never, ever get over the line. And I'm seeing that with Arteta, it's evident because he's been there 6 years and he's not won nothing. Rodgers again couldn't get over the line for us either. So the similarities are there between those two. Prophet, would you take Glasner? Because I know Craig aka Anfield Agenda, wants him. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, AJ. But would I take Glasner? He wouldn't be my first choice, AJ. He'd be on the list for sure, but he wouldn't be my first choice manager. If I had to pick, I'd probably go with Well, I've got three names, AJ. One's maybe unrealistic, but it depends on how you look at it. To be fair, obviously I've got Xabi Alonso, Luis Enrique, and I've got Julian Nagelsmann. Those would be my first three. But after that, I would have Glasner up there as well. But he wouldn't be my first choice. But he's a very good coach, a very, very good coach. Could he cut it at a big club though? That remains to be seen. But yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. I think you guys have to go get. I think you guys have to pull to get Zidane. If I'm being honest, we do. AJ, 100%, bro. At the end of the day, we're Liverpool, biggest and most successful club in England. We definitely have the pull to get Zidane. But would Zidane be someone that the club look at? I'm not sure, bro. Because while we can sit here and speculate and say he'd be a good fit, the club look at this differently. They look at it and think, okay, Liverpool being a family club, they need a manager they can connect to and relate to. And I think with Klopp, we had that really, really well. That connection. Literally, Klopp could have done anything, and I could never have turned on the guy. So I think the owners are going to look to try and get someone in who has that connection with the fans, the city, who understands Liverpool Football Club and understands Liverpool, the city as a whole. That's who I think the owners would want. Would Zidane have that? Probably not. But nonetheless, he's a very, very good coach. You don't win 3 Champions League in a row if you're not a good coach, let's be honest. But yeah, Arteta and Rodgers have got similarities, in my opinion. A lot of similarities. I personally would say Rodgers is worse because I'm gonna be honest, Rodgers did some absolutely cringe stuff back in the day. You think Arteta's light bulb speech is bad? You should check out Rodgers' envelope thing. That was even cringier. Personally, I don't think Nagelsmann is good enough for you. AJ, with the whole Nagelsmann thing, I look at it like I felt like he was unfairly sacked by Bayern Munich. I felt like he was doing relatively well for Bayern at the time as well. I feel the only reason they sacked him was because they saw Thomas Tuchel was available and they thought Thomas Tuchel could do a better job. And in hindsight, it was a bad decision because Tuchel's reign at Bayern was unsuccessful. I look at Nagelsmann stylistically, bro, and he reminds me of a young Klopp in the way he plays football. Very high energy, gegenpressing, fast attacking football, which is what I like. So that's why I have him on the list personally. But he wouldn't be my first choice. He'd probably be third choice on my list. But yeah, at the time when Liverpool sacked Brendan Rodgers, there was 2 names that were being floating around, and that was Jurgen Klopp, of course, and Carlo Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti was someone that Liverpool were looking at, but ultimately Liverpool made the decision to go for Jurgen Klopp over Carlo Ancelotti. In hindsight, probably the better decision when you look back on it, because would Ancelotti have done as well as Klopp did at Liverpool? I don't know. I genuinely do not know. There were also some behind the scenes stuff that led to his sacking as well. And are we talking about Nagelsmann? Yeah, Danton. Because I do remember that there were some behind the scenes things going on with Nagelsmann. But yeah, in hindsight, would Ancelotti have won as much for Liverpool as Klopp did? I'll be honest, I don't know if Ancelotti's a great manager, one of the best of all time. No disrespect to him. Yeah, it is Brendan Rodgers. Not Brendan Rodgers. Yeah, it is Nagelsmann. Thanks, Danton. My thing about Brendan Rodgers, he wouldn't. Well, AJ, that is one thing. He wouldn't be as bad with 1 billion. I'd hope he'd have won something with 1 billion. But then again, I look at him at Leicester as well. AJ, he absolutely 2 years in a row got all the top 4 rates with Leicester. So I agree. They're both not good coaches. They're both not. Ancelotti's a great coach. I'll never disrespect that guy for what he's done in the game. But would he have been able to work on a low budget like Jurgen did for 9+ years? I don't know. I personally don't think so. So Liverpool made the right decision. Jurgen Klopp at Dortmund was a very high energetic personality, and that's exactly what we needed at the time. We needed someone with the energy, the charisma. Big up AJ as well. With the energy, the charisma, just that good feel-good vibe, and that's exactly what Klopp brought to Liverpool. In his first press conference, actually, in Klopp's first press conference, his words were, in 4 years' time, when I sit here, we'll probably have won 1 title. And he was right. 4 years later, 1920, we won the league. So he kept his word. Wasn't easy, but I'll be honest. The team Jurgen inherited was really, really bad. I'd like to bring it up, but unfortunately, Google's updated stuff and it doesn't go that far back no more. But the team that Klopp inherited, his first game was Spurs away, I believe. we drew 1-1. That was a shocking team. The fact he finished 8th with that, or managed to finish 8th when we were 14th, was a miracle. You know what I'm saying? That's why I get annoyed when I see Arsenal fans trying to compare the team that Arteta took over to the team that Klopp took over. I'm sorry, but Arteta had Aubameyang in that team. He had Lacazette. He had Lucas Torreira, who at the time was a decent midfielder. He had other players in there that were good players. Klopp had no world-class players in the team. He had man like Skirtle, Moreno, Joe Allen, Benteke, Mignolet in goal. It's not comparable. Jurgen's team was a lot worse than Arteta's team when he took over. And he finished 8th in his first year. Second year, got us to a final of the Europa League. Got us top 4 as well in his first full season. Third season, got us to a Champions League final. Fourth season, won us the Champions League. Fifth season, won us the Premier League. Sixth season, of course, COVID, we had a bit of a crisis. Seventh season, came back, won a domestic cup double. Eighth season, again, had another bad one. And then the ninth season, final year, we won a Carabao Cup. So we did win most years under Jurgen. The years we didn't win were because the owners just stitched us up in the transfer market, if we're being honest about it. That's the only reason. But other than that, most of the time, I was relatively happy. I know people go on about trophies a lot, and trophies are a big thing in football. But for Liverpool fans, it sometimes feels like it's not about trophies. I know that's kind of maybe a loser mentality to have, or a loser mentality thing to say, but it feels like sometimes with Liverpool, it's not about trophies, even though I don't necessarily agree with that narrative at times. But yeah, I went off topic there. I don't know why I went back in history to talk about Jurgen's time at Liverpool. Guess I'm really missing it as of late. But when Klopp announced he was leaving, there was a lot of talk about who was going to be the next manager. Now, I'll be honest, there was no real talk. I don't know why people say there was. There was only one name floating around, and that was Xabi Alonso. In fact, I'm pretty sure every single Liverpool fan was 99.9% sure that he was going to be the next Liverpool manager, which is why it came to a shock to myself and other people when he ended up saying he was going to stay at Leverkusen for another year. He said he wanted to commit his future there, but let's be honest, we know he was eyeing up the Madrid job. You know, you can't pull the wool over our eyes, Alonso, but it is what it is, man. He's Spanish at the end of the day, and unfortunately, Spanish players, they're always going to prioritize Madrid over everyone. And I'm okay with Alonso, with being Alonso's second choice, to be fair, because if it wasn't Madrid, he'd be loyal as anything to us if it wasn't for them. But yeah, Alonso was the manager that was linked. It would have been a bit of a weird transition at the time, because I remember when the whole thing happened, under Jurgen, we were very, very used to playing a 4-3-3, at times a 4-2-3-1 every now and then. But it would have been a big change, I feel, from going from a 4-3-3 to a 3-4-3, a completely new system. Very different way of playing as well, to be fair. Alonso is a lot more of a manager who prefers to have the ball a lot. He's very possession-based. Well, he was at the time anyway. So it would have been a bit of a transition. But we all were happy with it because Alonso was an ex-player. He was doing bits with Leverkusen that year as well. Ended up winning the league with them, going unbeaten, which is, again, a very, very hard achievement. Dare I say that Leverkusen team are better than the Invincibles? Dare I say it? Dare I say, I know I'm probably going to get hate in the chat for saying it, but I'm just pointing out an observation. That Leverkusen team was very, very good. And Alonso deserves credit for that, and I feel sometimes he's a bit too discredited on it. But yeah, Alonso decided to big up Dan, man. Big up. Alonso decided to stay at Leverkusen. Shocker blow. But I'll be honest, it then put us in a pickle who we're going to get in as our next manager. There was talks of Ruben Amorim. Very, very quickly broke down. Looking at it now, probably a good thing. And then Stott's name just came out of nowhere. Arne Stott's name just came out of nowhere one day. Surprising. Very, very surprising to say the least, because I'll be honest, I'd never heard of Arne Slot before he was talked about with Liverpool. Actually, I had heard about him because I'd seen a couple of his team talks floating around, but I didn't know much about the guy, just that he was a manager in the Dutch league. So then it kind of happened very quickly, I'll be honest. It happened very, very quickly. It only took about 2 days, and then Slot was announced as Klopp's successor. I'll be honest, I wasn't happy with the appointment. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I was happy with the appointment. I wasn't. I was very, very unhappy because I felt the next manager after Klopp had to be someone that we all liked and believed in, and bringing in a manager from the Dutch league who's unproven. Literally the same season we seen how bad Erik ten Hag was at United. I just thought it was a recipe for disaster. And our season in Klopp's final year, the season didn't end great. Let's be honest. It was a good season up until about United knocked us at the FA Cup. Then it kind of went downhill. I'm still disappointed to this day that we didn't win the league in Jurgen's last season, because that's the least he deserved. That is the least he deserved, to win the league in his final season and go out like that. So to this day, I still blame the players for letting him down that year. I still blame the players. Why does Monch want Steven Gerrard as... Oh my God, no way, AJ. Does he want him as an interim, or does he want him as a permanent manager, though? As an interim, I can see the logic behind that. But if he wants Gerrard as his permanent manager for next season, he's smoking crack, bro. Do let me know, though, AJ. Do let me know. But yeah, that's a problem. The season didn't end great. We still won a Carabao Cup, but I wasn't relatively happy. And then, let's be honest, the summer after that was poor. It was a bad summer. We didn't sign no one. Brought in Federico Chiesa, who didn't even play the season much. And that just made it even worse for me. The fact that Jurgen's left, we brought in a new, unproven manager, and he's got no funds. He's been given no backing. It just felt like we were really setting ourselves up for a disaster. AJ, he's mad, bro. He is crazy. Steven Gerrard, permanent manager. He's mad, bro. Does he want to go? We'll be in the Championship if Gerrard becomes our manager. As interim, for now, if we were going to get him now as interim till the end of the season, I'd actually take that, because he could actually get a bounce. Ex-player, legend. Instantly, he'll have the respect of our big names like Alisson, Virgil, and Salah. But as permanent manager, no. Danchon, that's exactly what I'm thinking, but is he crazy? Steven Gerrard? No. The guy didn't do well at Villa. Respectfully to Gerrard, legend and that. I'll always have time for him. One of my favourite Liverpool players of all time. But as a manager, he's cheeks. He's absolutely cheeks. If what he did at Villa wasn't bad enough, look what he did in the Saudi Arabian League when he went there. He didn't even last long over there. You know what I'm saying? Now, people are going to talk about, but he did well in Scotland, etc. Ange Postecoglou did well in Scotland. Doesn't mean he did well at Spurs. Look how bad he was for Tottenham, despite winning a trophy. So no. AJ, for me, bro, Steven Gerrard, no. Interim, maybe I'll entertain the idea and hear it, but permanent, no. He's got to stay. He's got to stay away from us. AJ, he's got to stay away from us too. He's got to stay away from us. There's some Liverpool fans that, but I've seen a couple of links on him, not links. I've seen a couple of fans saying that, but AJ, I'm gonna be honest, bro. The guy's an ex-Evertonian. He's an ex-Evertonian. I think a lot of people forget that, by the way, when they talk about Arteta, that he used to play for the blue and white shit. So for that reason alone, he's got to stay away from Liverpool. Everton could have him though. Everton could have him as their next manager if they want him. He'll fit right in there. Who are your top 3 personal choices for the Liverpool job? Okay, in no particular order, Dancho, my top 3 would be Xabi Alonso, Luis Enrique, and Julian Nagelsmann. The third one's a bit unpopular. I know a lot of people don't agree with that one. But the top 2 would be Enrique and Alonso. If you ask me what order it's likely in, I'd probably say Alonso's favourite, Nagelsmann second, and then Enrique third. I think the Enrique thing would all depend on whether he is going to leave Paris Saint-Germain this summer or not. Otherwise, you can forget about it. But yeah, let's be honest. Do I say this summer or do I say last summer? The summer before this one, so for summer of 2024, we made 0 signings. Arsenal signed players. United signed players. Chelsea signed players. Fucking City signed players. We didn't, which was a problem. And we had a new manager as well, which was just a disaster. Prophet, would you take Inzaghi? Would I take Inzaghi? I'm going to be honest, AJ. With Liverpool, maybe us more so than other clubs, style of play is important, but it's very important for Liverpool fans, because if we're witnessing dull football, Anfield can't be electric. It can't vibe off it. So I want a winner, and I want a winner who plays entertaining football, just like what Jurgen did. So Inzaghi, while he is a winner, he's won stuff. Stylistically, would he suit Liverpool? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? It's like people say, would you take Mourinho, AJ? And for me, I'd always say no, because I feel like there's two clubs in world football that would never hire Mourinho, and that would be Arsenal and Liverpool, because I think stylistically both of our clubs are known for playing fast, front-footed attacking football. Pre-Arteta for you guys, of course. And I just feel like he wouldn't shoot our clubs. I think City would take him, United would take him, anyone else would take him, but our clubs wouldn't. So for me, Inzaghi, not really, bro. Not really. But he's a winner. So again, if he's a winner, that's all that matters, right? I suppose at the end of the day. But yeah, we had no signings and we went into a season, I'll be honest, probably weaker off than we were the season before. We let Joe Matip go, didn't replace him. Thiago had gone. Someone else had gone, I think, off the top of my head. One or two other players had gone as well. Personally, I would take Inzaghi in a heartbeat. AJ, I know you would, bro. Yeah, I know, bro, because I know you lot. I know the real Arsenal fans are desperate for Arteta to get out of here. So I know you guys are pretty much like anyone over him at this point. And I get it. Bro. I get it. But let's be honest, bro, lads. No signings. No one. And Slot absolutely killed the league last season. He killed it, let's be honest. He killed the league last season. You know, just came in, did his thing, and walked the league. You know what I'm saying? In a league that, let's be honest, did anyone expect us to win it? No. No one expected us to win that league last year. No one. I think you ask most people, most of them would have said Liverpool without Klopp are finished. They're going to be back to the pre-Jurgen Klopp days when we won the Brendan Rodgers, when we were under the likes of Roy Hodgson. A lot of people would have said Liverpool's time in the sun is over. And I was feeling that way too. I was under the impression that if Slot was backed, he could do well. But if you're not going to back the manager, what's the point? You may as well just hang him out to dry. But Slot did very well last year. Didn't have no signings, but had us playing a way that was actually relatively good up until around February this year gone. Last year gone. Slot comes in, tweaks one or two things. I think stylistically we were still playing front-footed football, but I think at times we were a bit more pragmatic. So you saw against Chelsea at home last season, United, not United away. One or two other games as well last season. I think Chelsea at home, I noticed it most, where we'd kind of just sit back and allow other teams to have the ball. You'd never get that under Klopp. Never. Klopp would never set up a team like that. So I think Slot came in and tweaked us to make us a bit more pragmatic. And it worked because we were very, very solid for the first quarter of last season. Actually had the most clean sheets as well, believe it or not. Doing very well defensively, which was good to see. And he did well, let's be honest. No one could have predicted Arsenal would be as bad as they were last year. No one could have predicted that. No one could have predicted City would have had the absolute fall-off that they had last year. And I think Liverpool, while I think we were good, we took advantage of that too, you know what I'm saying? I think we definitely benefited off everyone else in the league being crap. We did, you know what I'm saying? But that's not me discrediting what we did last year at all, by no stretch of the imagination. But yeah, walked the league last year, 0 signings. Had pretty much the same starting 11 as well. Darwin Núñez was an issue last season, let's be honest about it. The guy couldn't hit a barn door, but he did come up clutch a couple of times, so I'll give him that. One or two other players as well, I felt we had sticking around that weren't great, but put in a shift. So all in all, I'll be honest, it was a very good year last year in the Premier League. But at one point, I was really confident we could do more than just the Premier League. But, you know, I wouldn't even say we disrespected the FA Cup because we weren't relatively strongest. Actually, what I'm on about, no. We did disrespect the FA Cup because we went after Plymouth. So we disrespect the FA Cup last year, which wasn't a good idea. We then get to the final of the Carabao Cup, lose it to Newcastle, deservedly so as well. And then we get knocked out of the Champions League to Paris Saint-Germain. So in all the other competitions, we fell short. But in the league, I think because we were so far ahead, you know, we kind of had that wrapped up. We could drop points literally, and we would have been sound. So a good year, all in all. But I'll be honest, we started falling off last season. I just don't think anyone really wanted to notice and talk about it. I think ever since I'll be honest, ever since we got knocked out against Paris Saint-Germain, we haven't been the same. Ever since Liverpool went out of the Champions League against Paris Saint-Germain, we haven't been the same. I don't know what's happened, but our style of play since then has changed from what we were doing before that. Before that, Slot was just kind of tweaking Klopp's system, making one or two changes tactically, like I said, which was working well. I feel after the Paris Saint-Germain game, that's when he really started to swift away from that and trying to implement his own style of play properly onto the team. And you could see it wasn't great. The football changed after that. It wasn't as exciting. It was a bit more boring. Well, a lot more boring, actually. And again, we were stumbling in the league as well at that point. You know, we only had the league and we were stumbling in it. A lot of draws, but we were very fortunate that Arsenal just couldn't take advantage because they were crap, even though they were a comfortable second place. But yeah, we win the league in the end. But let's be honest, we didn't win a game after we won the league last year. Didn't win a game. We went to Ibiza 2 weeks before the season ended. You know what I'm saying? That for me is letting standards slip and disrespect. You don't go and party before the league finishes. You wait till the league finishes, then go out. But we went out before it finished. Didn't win a game after we won the league. Drew against Arsenal, a lot of draws, and I think we lost 3 as well, which wasn't great. But I think everyone just overlooked it again because we were so clear at the top of the league, etc. We won it, etc. Everyone just wanted to be positive, which I get, to be fair, which I do get. But for me, with Liverpool, it's always an occurring theme, let's be honest. Whenever we have a bad year, it usually starts towards the end of the year before. When we had the bad year in 23-24, it started in the quad season towards the end. You know, there were signs. This season, we've had a bad year. The signs were there towards the end of last season. That's why I was relatively livid when we didn't beat Arsenal at home last year, when we weren't winning other games, because I've seen this before. I've seen this happen to us before numerous times. Fall-offs start towards the end of the previous season. Signs are there. And I could see signs last year that I didn't like. But I felt, okay, Slot is trying to implement his style of play. Doesn't really have the players that he wants to implement it. So we'll have to wait till the summer to see how it goes. Let's be honest, we had the summer of our lifetime this year, guys. As Liverpool fans, we saw something we don't usually see. And that was a lot of players coming in, a lot of money being spent. You know, I sit here usually every summer and I watch Arsenal sign players. I watch Chelsea sign players for fun. Chelsea, by the way, they're bad for signing players for fun. City sign players. You know what I'm saying? United, even Spurs sign players. Madrid, Bayern. And usually I'm sat here as a Liverpool fan just watching everyone else sign players. No one else does it. You know, we don't do sign no one. We just have to watch everyone else get all these fancy new toys. So this season, you can imagine my surprise when I'm sat there and I'm seeing us going there straight up. Obviously, we lost Trent, so that was going to be a loss. Straight up, going there, bring Jeremy Frimpong in as his replacement. So you replace Trent straight away, which is good. You then go and show a statement of intent by bringing in Florian Wirtz from the Bundesliga. Again, when we were linked to Wirtz, I didn't think we were ever going to get him, if I'm honest. I didn't think it. I said either he'll go City or he'll go to Bayern. Bayern more likely. Liverpool just come in. I thought we were just there for participation, so it looks like we tried to get him. But we didn't. We went there, put our balls on the table, pause, and put the money down for Wirtz and signed him. You know what I'm saying? That was a statement of intent. You then go and get Milos Kerkez in as a statement of intent. Very good left back, probably the best in the league last season. Then you go and you bring in Hugo Ekitike as a striker to replace Darwin Núñez. And then you bring in Alexander Isak, another statement of intent. So 2 statement of intent signings there, Isak and Wirtz, which we both, for both of them, we broke the British transfer record fee on. So you look at the signings we made, very good signings. You know what I'm saying? At the time, we were all buzzing. But in hindsight, I'll be honest, while the incomes were very good, well, I think they are very good still, the outgoings for me, I wasn't very happy with. We let Luis Diaz go. Not a good decision, in my opinion. Very poor decision. So you let Lucho go. And you don't replace Lucho, which is the bad thing. You know, cool, you're going to let Lucho go. Go get Rodrigo from Madrid. You know, he's not getting much game time there. Bring him to Liverpool. He can be a starter for us. It's not letting Lucho go that annoys me. It sucks to lose him. Obviously, he's a good player. but it's more you don't replace the guy and you rely on a kid who the manager clearly doesn't trust as his replacement. That's poor. We then let Tsimikas go, understandably. So, to be fair, not too annoyed with that. Who else did we let go in the summer gone? Obviously, Trent left too. Did anyone else leave in the summer? Elliot went out as well on loan to Villa. He's still at Villa as well on loan. So the outgoings weren't great. I think we could have done with probably keeping Lucho. 100% could have done with keeping Lucho. Could have done with keeping Quancho around. As much as I hate to admit it, and I don't like the guy because he causes a lot of headlines in the news for the wrong reasons. Could have done with keeping him around. Tsimikas, again, not too upset that he left. And we probably could have done with keeping Elliot around for the midfield depth as well. So there's a problem. But because we signed so much good players, naturally we were all overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying? Season starts and look, let's be honest. Opening game, we weren't good against Bournemouth. Very, very poor against Bournemouth. But actually, we bottled a 2-goal lead in that game. 2-0 up, bottled it. Had to save it in stoppage time. But we got the win. Weren't good against Newcastle again. Newcastle, who didn't have an Isak at the time. Bottled a 2-goal lead there as well. So bottled a 2-goal lead over at St. James's Park as well. Which wasn't a good thing in hindsight. Arsenal at home again, let's be honest. You knew Arsenal were going to set up for a 0-0 draw again at Anfield because they were never going to attack because we know the way they play. Arsenal set up pragmatically against us. But then imagine my surprise to see that we're all apologies, lads. I just froze there for a reason. Can you still hear me, guys? If you can still hear me, do let me know, please. I will take Joggy in a heartbeat. Yep. Slot is going nowhere. For this season, I agree, Winston. Hope you guys can still hear me. Fingers crossed you can. Yeah. Cheers, Danchum. Just lagged out for a minute then. Yeah. Cheers, AJ Ball. For this season, Winston, I agree. He's going nowhere, unfortunately. If Slot wins the FA Cup, he could save himself. I don't think so, AJ. I think he's got to win the Champions League. I think he has to win the Champions League to save himself because you look at the money we spent, AJ, 400 million plus. You don't spend that much money just to win the FA Cup. I'm saying a trophy's a trophy, but for us, and the owners will probably look at it that way as well. You know, they backed this guy heavily in the market. It's something that they never did with Klopp, but they trusted Slot, and he's kind of just thrown it back in their face because of how bad we've been this year. So for me, I think the owners are giving him an ultimatum where either you win the Champions League or you get sacked in the summer. And I agree with that, to be fair. I agree with that. So will the FA Cup be enough? It could be, but I don't think it will be because I think for me, he's probably going to need to win the UCL. But yeah, what was I talking about? The Arsenal game. We both set up pragmatic in that game. A moment of magic from Szoboszlai got us the 3 points there. Burnley again, not good against Burnley. Needed a last-minute penalty from Salah to win that. And then we win the Merseyside. We win the Merseyside derby 2-1. Beat Southampton in the cup. From there, it just goes downhill. Lose to Palace, lose to Chelsea, lose to United, lose to Galatasaray, lose to Brentford. Have a bit of resurgence, and from there we've just been very poor. You know what I'm saying? I think this season, a lot of people have noticed how bad and boring our style of play is, and just not the Liverpool way. I think a lot of people have noticed that the manager's been backed with a lot of money, and he's obviously got no clue how to get the best out of this team and the players that we have. I think it's been very obvious that a lot of the players have lost respect for him, the senior players, and they don't see him or respect him. Blatantly obvious that he's not the right fit for this club. Very arrogant, very what's the word I'm looking for here? Very demeaning towards us fans, just not the way Liverpool are. And I think it's also very obvious that he got lucky last year. I hate to say that, but it's obvious that he got very fortunate last year. I think in hindsight, we realised that at the time, we were all full of praise for Arne Slot for last season because we thought he was doing a great job. Brilliant, took over from Klopp, looked good. I think now, looking back on it, we're seeing that it was more Klopp's brilliance than it was Slot's brilliance. Klopp left us in a very good position. He made sure we didn't end up how United did when Ferguson left. He made sure we had a very good team at our disposal that would still remain at the top. And he kept his word because he said he'd leave us in a better position than we were when he came, and he did. So I feel last season was more on Klopp because he left us in a very good position. Slot came in, and Slot did very well with the team he had, but he only tweaked certain things. When he fully implemented his style of play last season, you could see, yeah, that's not what I like. That doesn't look great. It doesn't look great at all. And then this season, it's just gotten even worse. Been backed with players as well, might I add. Been backed with a lot of players and a lot of money. Wirtz is here. Frimpong's here. Ekatike's here. Kirkes is here. Isak's here. All these players are here. This talent is unreal in this Liverpool squad, and he can't get the best out of it. He still doesn't know his best starting 11 to now. Constantly chopping and changing things up. A player has a good game, he doesn't stick with them. He reverts back to stuff that he shouldn't be reverting back to. And for me, a big red flag from last season was player treatment. You know, having favourites, clearly valuing and treating certain players better than other players. Federico Chiesa, perfect example. A very good player. Every time he plays for Liverpool, every time he steps up, looks very good. Doesn't get a chance. Endo doesn't get a chance. Gomez doesn't get a chance unless it's desperation. And Rion Gumoa, the kid, doesn't get a chance either. So my question is, do you think Konate goes in the summer? Do I think Konate goes in the summer? Oh, that's a good question, AJ. It's a very good question. I'll just leave that up. I think now that Madrid have walked away, I think he stays. I think if Madrid had continued pursuing him, I feel like his head was turned, and I feel like he would have gone to Madrid. Because they've walked away from him, sorry. I feel now Konate, especially as well with how we supported him when he was going through a tough time a couple of weeks ago. I feel like the respect's grown again. And I feel like he's been good the last couple of weeks, although I need to see it on a more consistent basis personally. I think he stays, AJ. I think he stays. I think he gets the new deal. AJ, Konate wants 300k a week. Saka has 300k a week. Saka is on 300k a week at Arsenal. So maybe Konate will get his wish, and maybe he will just end up getting 300k a week. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he will just end up getting 300k. So I think he stays, AJ. I do think Ibrahim Konate will stay at Liverpool. But he needs to pick up his performances because on his day, in my opinion, I think Konate is a very good centre-back. He's a very, very good centre-back. He's not elite. Of course, he's not elite, but he's very good. And he just needs to show that more often. You know what I mean? Since coming back from, since the Newcastle game, I think he's been relatively good. 300k a week for a centre-back is madness. It is, bro. But that's how much he wants, apparently. That's how much Konate wants. 300k a week. What he wanted, I don't know if he's still the same now or if he's willing to take a bit of a pay cut, but yeah, he was very, very adamant that he wanted 300k a week, which is, for me, it's just complete madness, if you ask me. Complete madness, because, look, you can give that to a striker, you can give that to a winger, you can even give it to a midfielder, but a centre-back. And also, AJ, let's not forget, his performances haven't been good this season. He's not been good performance-wise. So for him to ask for that much money, in my opinion, is just, it's laughable, bro. It's laughable. You know what I'm saying? If he was having a good season, I think, again, maybe you can see why he wants it. But For him to ask for that much after the year he's had, it's just incredibly cheeky, bro. Incredibly cheeky. And it was never going to happen. So if he does stay, he's going to have to take a big wage cut, or a lot lower than that, because there's no way, based off of his performances, the club are going to give him 300k a week. There's just no way. So no, I think he stays, but I think he has to accept a lower wage cut. So back to Slot. This season, it's just become blatantly obvious that he's not the man for Liverpool, and he's not the man to lead us forward. So that begs the question: what's going to happen with Slot going forward, and what's going to happen with Liverpool going forward as well? For us, our objective from the beginning of the season to now has changed drastically. At the beginning of the season, my objective was to go back in the league, win number 21, do well in the Champions League, go deep in there, and do well in the domestic cups. That was my ambition at the start of the season. As the season's gone on, unfortunately, I've had to lower my ambition to now I want us to win the Champions League and get top four. And I hate saying that because I don't want to be one of these fans that just goes on about top four. But it looks like that's the way football's headed at the moment, especially English football. So for me, win a trophy and get us top four. And even if you win the Champions League, for me, he has to go. Because I look at it like this. Actually, let me explain this here. If Slot hadn't come out and said some of the stupid comments he did in the media, where he was blatantly talking rubbish, undermining Klopp, disrespecting Jurgen, talking about 2 leagues in 30 years. If you take all of that out, I'd be open to being won back over by him. I would genuinely be open to being won back over by him. But some of his comments that he's made for me in the media, sly digs, for me, there's just no way back from that. And for that reason alone, he's got to go. If he wins the Champions League, I'll praise him. I'll give him his flowers. But I still want him to go. For me, he wins it. I'll thank him. I'll always hold him in high regards. But it's still bye-bye for me. Still bye-bye. I wouldn't be giving that to Saliba and Gabriel. Yeah, bro, it's crazy, isn't it? Kanate is mad cheeky with that one. Mad cheeky to want that much money. Crazy cheeky to want that much money. He's never going to get it, let's be honest. Liverpool aren't a club, AJ, that are ever going to allow that, let's be honest. We'll never give players that much money. We just won't. It's just not the way we do things. Just not the way we do things. So he was never going to get that much money. So he's crazy for even thinking that he'd get that much. Apologies, someone was just sending me something in. But yeah, for me, objective for me is to win a trophy, get top four and leave in the summer. But the club, what did the club want here? Because it's very, very hard. I take FSG out of the equation. For this season, I'm not going to give them no blame for the summer. I look more at sporting directors, Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards. What do they want? What's their ambition for the club? For me, it looks like one thing, they want Champions League football. Okay, cool. If you want Champions League football, do we not have a better chance with an interim manager? You look at what Man United are doing with Michael Carrick. They're right up there. They could finish third. They've had a very good manager bounce. Chelsea and Senior had a good manager bounce. Are we not better off maybe going for an interim if we want top four? Because I think there's more chance we get it with an interim than we do if we stick with Arne Slot. So again, it feels like they're being too stubborn. They're so desperate for Slot to work, but they don't want to sack him. That's what I look at, and that's how I look at it. That's how I feel, because he should have gone weeks ago, months ago, and they've just prolonged the inevitable for too long at this point. I think they want to get Champions League, and then they want to assess the situation in the summer, whatever that means. I think he goes in the summer, I'll be honest. I know some people are starting to worry that he won't go in the summer. He has to, because if he's still here next year, us Liverpool fans can make it hard. We can make life hard, and we will make sure he's run out because we've done it before. So if they're smart, they'll pull the trigger in the summer and they'll stop trying to make it work, because it's not going to work. It's a shame, because we all thought Slot was the next big thing, but he's turned out to be a scrub, another Ten Hag 2.0. And I hate to say that, but it is what it is. So that leaves the question, who's going to be the next Liverpool manager next season? Because I think we will have a new one. Like I said, 3 names: Xabi Alonso, Luis Enrique, Julian Nagelsmann. One of them is unrealistic, but I'm going to believe. I'm going to believe. So I wanted to come in here and give us a couple of potential lineups that we could have under new managers. So I'll give you one for Enrique, Alonso, and Nagelsmann. Now, Nagelsmann and Enrique, relatively easy to predict how they're going to line up. With Alonso, it's a bit different because he does the whole 3-4-3 thing. But yeah, it's mad. I mean, when you guys do potential lineups under a new manager. Profit, listen to this, just bought my Women's Champions League quarterfinal ticket because it's only 20. AJ, that's mad, but only 28 quid for a Champions League quarterfinal game for the women's team. How much is it for? I'm sure it's mad expensive for men's. That's mad, bro. Absolutely crazy. That's crazy cheap, man. Imagine men's football is that cheap. You know what I'm saying? So if I just share the screen, I'll give you guys a potential lineup for Liverpool under Xabi Alonso. So this is how. Is this the white one? Here we go. Yeah. So Liverpool's potential lineup with Xabi Alonso. I've made this look incredibly nice here, by the way. But yeah, hopefully you guys can see this. So in goal, look, it's going to be Alisson. We know Alisson ain't going nowhere. And he shouldn't go nowhere either because he's the best keeper in the world. So that's that. Alisson in goal. Okay, this is where it gets interesting now under Xabi Alonso. I'm gonna add a couple of new signings in there as well. So potential new signings. So bear with me. That seat for a men's Champions League quarterfinal would cost me at least 100. It's a joke, bro. AJ, that's a joke, isn't it? How the price difference is that much. It's mental. Absolutely mental, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you got a ticket, though, bro. And make sure you enjoy the game. Hopefully, Arsenal's women can win as well for you. But yeah, Alisson in goal. Centre-back, I think Van Dijk's here for one more year. So I think Van Dijk stays for this. I think he does one more year with us. So that's that. I'm going to add... So we'll just make Van Dijk the captain as well because he's the team captain, isn't he? So, yeah. Virgil there. And I think Konate stays. So, no, Konate stays on the other side. My bad. I think Konate stays. So I'll put Konate in there as well. Okay. This is where it gets interesting because at this point, Leone will be back. Gomez will still be here. And Jaquet will be here as well. And maybe we'll have one or two other centre-backs as well. So, what happens here then? Jaquet for me, again, a youngster, someone who can learn and develop. But we need someone for the here and now. You know what I'm saying? We need a centre-back for the here and now. So, let's put someone in. Let's say, hypothetically, Bastoni comes in as a centre-back option. We sign him. That's a decent back four. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? This is hypothetical. This is if. This is what I am. We're just working off the basis certain things happen. So that would be our back three under Xabi Alonso. You move into the midfield. Obviously, look, it's going to be Frimpong because he knows Frimpong well from Leverkusen. So Frimpong will play off the right. Midfield, it's going to be... Who would it be? He'll go with Gravenberch. This is what I'm saying. Gravenberch probably, yeah. Gravenberch will be in there. And then you probably put Szoboszlai in there as well. Now this then does create a bit of a dilemma, but is what it is. And of course, off the left, I think he'll go with Kirkes because I don't think Robbo will be here next year. So that's potentially how we that's how we could look. That's how we could look under Xabi Alonso so far. I'll get up to the big three, the top three in a minute, the front three. I think you get Toboso off Bayer Leverkusen as third centre back. That would be a good option. You know what, AJ? We'll take Bastoni out and we'll put in him instead. Thank you for alerting me that to that. We'll just put Toboso in. That looks better. So there, that's the back three, goalkeeper, and then the midfield. Okay, the front three then. This will be interesting here because I don't think Salah's here next season, so I think we're going to end up going into the market for another winger off the right. I'm gonna say let's say hypothetically we bring in Rafa Leao. I know Rafa Leao can play off the left, but he can also play off the right. Let's say that. So we put Leao in. I think striker, it's probably going to be Ekitike because I think he'd be more of an Alonso type striker. And off the left, I feel like we could see Florian Wirtz off the left. I think Gakpo will still be here, but I don't think he'll get much game time. I hate when you can't spell, man. So Florian Wirtz. So this is our potential team next season with Xabi Alonso in charge. If you guys can't see this, I'll just zoom it in a bit more. Hopefully you guys. Apologies for the ads as well. So yeah, this is how roughly I feel we could line up. You bring in a couple centre backs and we're good to go. Keep a couple more midfield options, and a couple attacking options. And Salah replacement will need another left winger, of course, we'll need, and 2 centre backs minimum. We've got one already, another one as well. So yeah, I like the look of this team. I can't lie. I think this team could do very, very well next season in the Prem. I think we definitely be up there challenging again, 110%. Salah's goals are going to be missed. Let's be honest, they're going to be missed. As much as people can say Salah's not a good player to watch, his output is very good. So again, it's going to be very hard to replicate what he does. Big up, man. Big up, Bob. Hope you well. Big up. But yeah, it's going to be very hard to replicate Salah's goals, isn't it? So yeah. But I like the look of that team under Xabi Alonso, 3-4-3. 3 centre backs there look very good. Midfield looks good. And of course, the attack looks good. Liao hypothetically comes in as the Salah replacement. You could even take Liao out because you could bring someone else in. But I think it'd be easy to bring Rafa Liao in personally because he's at Milan. He wasn't doing too well. I like the look at the team. We'd definitely be right up there, challenging for the league again, 100%. Not saying we're going to win it because I believe City will have a new manager next year potentially. Arsenal potentially will have a new manager next year. So will the likes of Chelsea. So I think, honestly, everyone other than Chelsea are going to have a new manager. All the big 6 clubs, bar Chelsea, I think will have a new manager. Spurs, Liverpool, Arsenal, United, and City, I think. Not really, man. Not really, I'll be honest. But let's hope we can get the 3 points. Let's hope we can get the 3 points, man. So yeah, Liverpool and the Xabi Alonso. I like the look of that lineup. You know what I'm saying? You could even take Szoboszlai out. You could put McAllister in there. You could maybe bring Wirtz in there, but I don't think Wirtz would really do too well in I don't think Wirtz would do too well in just a 2 midfield here. I think McAllister would work better. But again, I think Alonso would love Gravenberch and I think he'd love Szoboszlai. I don't know if he'd love McAllister so much though. I don't know if he'd love Maka so much. Bradley as well. You could even put Bradley. You could take Frimpong out, put Bradley in. And with a formation like this, it gives us more options and more depth. At centre-back, Leone will be there. So Leone's back. Jaquet will be in there. Gomez will still be around. I'm saying. So we've got 3 centre-back options there. Maybe bring in one more for cover. The midfield options, again, off the bench, we could have Elliott back, Jones, McAllister, Endo. So that's good. That's options there on the bench. And up top as well, let's say hypothetically Chiesa is still here. You have Chiesa, you have Isak, and then you have Gakpo. So we have depth. It will provide us more depth. So this formation, I wasn't feeling it about maybe a year ago when Klopp announced he was leaving and we were linked with Alonso. But now I'm liking the look of it. I can't lie. I'm really liking the look of it. I think just by pure coincidence, with the summer we had, we now have the players to play a back 3 and play this formation at 3-4-3, where we can, we just bring in maybe 2 or 3 centre backs in the summer, a couple more players to help out with our squad depth, and we're good to go. So this is a lineup. This is the one I would like Alonso to use if he came in, but he could also do this. To be fair, this is something that I see a lot of people liking the look of. So if I just get rid of that, he could also very, very well go with a 3, a 5. If I can find that formation, wherever it is, 3-5. Is it a 3-4? No, it's not a 3-4-3. What's the other formation Xabi uses, man? 3-5-2. Here we go. This is another formation Alonso could use. So obviously, in this formation, the centre backs stay the same. We'll just move Kerkez there. We take Liao out. So Kerkez will be there. That doesn't change much. We'll just remove that. Take Liao there because obviously we don't even know if he'll sign. It's just hypothetical. Put McAllister in because it will be McAllister back. So there we go. This happens. And then, of course, you take Wirtz out. So you remove Wirtz and you bring in Isaac, should I say. This is another formation Alonso could be used. Now this one, this looks good. I can't lie. This looks good. Again, I don't know about a 5 in midfielder. I'm not sure about that. I know the wing backs can push back to make it a back 5 at times, but I'm not too keen of a fan. I saw United doing this and I didn't like it. But it could work. That would be a very good start. Imagine playing Isak and Ekitike both up top together. You know what I'm saying? That would be mad. So I do like the look of that. But I can't lie. I like the 3-4-3 a bit more. I think I prefer that formation. But in this one, you get the best out of Ekitike and Isak because their players are 2. You play any other formation, you have to pick out of one or the other, really. You have to either pick Ekitike or you pick Isak to start. In this one, they can both start. And it could be a very, very good partnership as well. So this looks good. So this is how we could line up under Alonso. I think a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 is something we could do. So let's look at another manager potentially that we could go for. And that is Luis Enrique. I think Luis Enrique's formation for Liverpool would be a bit more, a little bit less complicated. Alonso plays a very complicated system, to be honest. So it's not surprising that you know, I've had to do 2 formations there. So, but just stop sharing that. There we go. So that happens. Let's look at Liverpool's lineup with Luis Enrique, because this could be an interesting one. It wouldn't be. Let's have a look. This is how we could line up with probably the best coach in the world at the moment. So, in goal again, Alisson. No surprises there. No surprises there. It will be a 3-4-3, won't it? So, Enrique primarily plays 3-4-3. So, at right back, I think he'd be more prone to using Conor Bradley, to be fair. Feels like Bradley's more of an Enrique type player than Frimpong is. Van Dijk, I think, will still be here. To be fair, this might be a bit stupid that I'm doing this because Enrique's unlikely, but hey, we got a dream, haven't we? We've got to have hope. Let's make Virgil the team captain because he is. Konate. I'm gonna be honest. The more I think of it, the more I like the look of I like the look at the 3 at the back because I think it suits us perfectly. Left back, it'll be Kirkers because Robbo won't be here next season. Midfield again. I'd love to see us get a DM in. Let's change this around a bit. If I can just. Why is it not? Whatever. We need a DM. We need a DM. I can't lie. I don't want to see Gravenberch in the 6 next season. I want to see him being pushed up in the 8. So a player that I really like personally is Edison from Atlanta. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he's a very, very good defensive midfielder. So let's say hypothetically we get him, and he's someone that we have been linked to before. So he sits there. I'm gonna have to bring these up first. So I think with the season he's had, Szoboszlai is just a nailed-on starter now for next season as well. He's got to play. So you put Szoboszlai in there, and then here it's interesting because do you go Gravenberch? Do you go McAllister maybe? Could be very intriguing. I think Enrique would be more prone to McAllister. I can't lie. I feel like he'd be more prone to Alexis McAllister. So you there. That. You then do that. Off the right, again. I'm going to leave right blank, actually, to be fair. So up top, I think it will be Ekitike. I can't lie. Again, feels like more of an Enrique type player than Isak. And then off the left. Again. So this is how we could potentially line up. I'm going to leave the left wing and I'm going to leave the right wing blank. So that's potential there. Let's just say hypothetically Salah's still here. You put Salah off the left, off the right, sorry, and then so you basically put Salah off the left, off the right, sorry, and then let's just say Gakpo as well for the right. Look, in this is a Liverpool, but this is under Enrique. Okay, how we could potentially line up under Luis Enrique. So you have Gakpo and you have Salah. Look, I don't think Salah will be here, but I just don't know what other what other right winger I could put in. To be fair, this is hypothetically, and then Gakpo, of course. Other than that, though, I like the look of this team. Bradley, Virgil, Kanate, Kirkes, Edison, hypothetically, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Ekitike. You know what? Let's change Salah and put Chiesa in. Screw it. Put Federico Chiesa in. I do feel if Chiesa's given a look out next season, he's more than good enough to be a starter. Federico Chiesa in, off the right. And then off the left, we probably need to buy someone because I don't think Gakpo's good enough. That's not a bad team either, man. That is not a bad team. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, it does mean that Gravenberch would miss out, which is a bit of an issue. But again, I like the look of that team as well. Enrique, I think, will keep it simple with a 3-4-3. No, with a 4-3-3, sorry. My bad. But I feel like Alonso, you have a 3-4-3 there. You have a 3-5-2 even. But with Luis Enrique, it's nice and easy. You bring in a DM. And again, I think we can really kick on. So that's potentially our lineup under Luis Enrique. We'll do one more. We'll do one more, people, before I start boring you guys. So, let's do one more. We'll do one with Julian Nagelsmann. So, Julian Nagelsmann. Again, that will be relatively easy. Because I think Nagelsmann likes a 4-2-3-1, if I'm correct. So, won't be too unsimilar to what Arne Slot does. I'll just share the screen. Again, and then we'll call it a day after this. Because I am starving like a whale. And probably need to go get some dinner. So, yeah. Under Julian Nagelsmann, again, this is just standard at this point, man. Alisson in goal. Again, I feel like he'd probably be more prone to Frimpong. I get that vibe off him. I think he could. A manager like Nagelsmann could get the best out of Frimpong. Van Dijk will still be here as well. Van Dijk right there. Put Virgil as the team captain. We'll go Kanate right here. Hypothetically, Kirkes. I feel like Gravenberch could do well under a manager like this, so Gravenberch there. I feel, let's say, it'll probably be Marcus or McAllister. See, it's not too different, but again, tactics make a big difference. You know what I'm saying? A way a manager wants to play football could make a big difference. So, say hypothetically, let's go Chiesa. No, you know what? Screw it. Let's go Salah. You know what I'm saying? Salah off the right. Words could, you know what? Words could really thrive in this system. I can't lie. A manager like Nagelsmann or even Alonso could, you know, really get the best out of him. Florian Wirtz, and then it'll be Ekitike again. I think all of these managers will just prefer Ekitike over Isak. I can't lie. I think Ekitike just would shoot them. So that's us under Nagelsmann. A 4-2. That's pretty much what we do with Slot. But again, like I said, tactics make a big difference, don't they? Big difference. You know, you have this team pressing, playing high energy, gegenpressing for front-footed football. Could really thrive. Wirtz could definitely thrive. I feel like Gravenberch, Frimpong, these players, Kirkes could thrive under Nagelsmann, even under Alonso. These two, Frimpong and Wirtz under Alonso, would do very well, very well. Even Kirkes, even Ekitike too. So that's potentially our lineup under Julian Nagelsmann. So out of all the three teams, and that's a 4-2-3-1 as well. I think he keeps it nice and easy too. So there's three potential managers there: Alonso, Enrique, and Nagelsmann. What our formations could look like. So just remove that off the screen now. That's that then. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be totally honest with everyone. I feel like out of all the managers I mentioned, I think we all know who the next Liverpool manager will be. I think it will be Xabi Alonso. So I think you will probably see Liverpool become a team that plays a 3 at the back or a 4 at the back. No, 3 at the back, sorry. And then do a 3-4-3 or even a 3-5-2. Like I said, I like the look of a 3-5-2 to an extent because I like the look of Isak and Ekitike playing together. You know what I'm saying? Because I do feel like that could create a little bit of a problem. You know, if we're forced to choose out of one or the other. You know, we don't really want to be in a situation where one player ends up unhappy and on the bench, and then we have an issue. So for me, personally, 3-5-2, Isak and Ekatike as two strikers, and they could really drive. That could be a monster. Big up Adam, bro. Big up Adam Partridge. Hope you well. A monster partnership. Could score a lot of goals between them, especially if Isak really starts to cook. Other than that, you're gonna have to pick. Otherwise, do you want to play Ekatike? Do you want to play Isak? And again, we're in a situation where it's a good thing because they're both two very good options, but it can also be a bad thing too because it means that one ends up rotting away on the bench. You know what I'm saying? Which we don't want. Luis Enrique, look, that lineup was hypothetical. It's very unlikely that he comes to Liverpool. I think, again, more likely he goes to City. So I just wanted to do that. And then Nagelsmann, an outside shout, but definitely someone we could look at because of stylistically, I think he'd be a good fit for Liverpool Football Club. So there's one. But again, if you're going to take any note, or if you're going to take any sort of note on the lineups that I've just made there, the Alonso one's probably the one you take the most from because I think he's the next manager. And again, we need a manager change ASAP. I hate to say that because I wanted Slot to do well, and I thought after last season he would do well. I thought we had the next best thing there, but this year, again, very obvious that he's out of his depth. Like I've said throughout the video, very evident. All I need from you is 3 points. Yeah. We'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes at the weekend. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, you bring in Xabi Alonso, has the feel for the city, has the feel for the fans, has the feel for the club. We'll just understand, and he'd fit in very well. I think we can all agree that he'd fit in very well there with us as well. Luis Enrique, again, stylistically, I didn't discuss this earlier, but we'll discuss it now. Stylistically, Enrique is a very possession-based manager. We know that. Him and Pep, for me, the two managers that execute possession-based football well. And for me, the only two managers that can execute it well. Pep, because he's kind of the master of it. You know what I'm saying? And then Enrique as well, because he's a Pep disciple, but he's a proper Pep disciple. Not these fake ones that you have like Maresca and Arteta and them. No. Enrique is a proper Pep disciple. So again, he plays very possession-based football. Would the fans like it? Would the fans accept it? Look, I would, because Enrique is a winner. But you ask a lot of Liverpool fans, they'll probably say, no, we want front-footed, fast attacking football. So that could be an issue. And Nagelsmann, again, in the sense of style of play, stylistically, Nagelsmann would be a good appointment. But again, AJ mentioned it earlier. He doesn't think Nagelsmann is good enough necessarily. Didn't do well at Bayern Munich. I say didn't do well at Bayern Munich. He was sacked by Bayern Munich unfairly, in my opinion. At Germany now, will he win Germany a major honour? Will he win them a World Cup? Very unlikely. No disrespect to him, but again, I just don't see it. Especially if Havertz is your striker going into the World Cup for Germany. Yeah, good luck, man. Good luck. So I think Nagelsmann will probably be available after the World Cup because I don't think he stays with the German national team. So managers will be available. Granted, there's no one elite in the market. There's no Ancelotti out there. There's no Mourinho out there. There's no Klopp out there. So there's no one we can really go for that's at the elite level. So you go for the next best thing, a top coach. And I think Alonso is a top coach. Again, I'll say it again. What he did at Leverkusen was outstanding. Enrique, a top coach. For me, the best one out there at the moment. The one that everyone's going to be on their knees begging for if he becomes available. And Nagelsmann, a good coach, but again, unproven. I don't look at with Xabi Alonso. People are going to look at what he did at Madrid. Naturally so. Because if you don't do well at Madrid, it's a big stain on your legacy and your CV. But for me, I look at Alonso's time at Madrid. There's a certain pecking order at Real Madrid. You have Florentino Perez, the owner or the chairman, players, and then manager comes last. So the player is below. The players are above the manager at Madrid. Big up Joshy J, bro. Big up Josh, man. Big up, man. Currently watching Blackburn versus Preston, the EFL. Nice, bro. Hope you have a nice night and enjoy the game. Big up Joshy J, man. Make sure you sub to Joshy J, man. Absolute legend in the building. big up yourself, man. Appreciate you stopping by. But yeah, there's a certain pecking order at Madrid. President, players, manager. Alonso's at the bottom. He was fighting a losing battle from day one. You know what I'm saying? Try to implement standards. Try to stop players from going out partying. Try to bring some discipline. And the players didn't have it, and they down-tooled and got him sacked. You know what I'm saying? So he was going about it the right way. He was trying to implement something at Madrid. They didn't want to have it. The players didn't want to have it, and he ended up getting booted out. Alonso's style of football, very, very, very key on hard work, discipline, pressing, very similar to Jurgen Klopp. You know what I'm saying? For me, Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen played some of the best football I've seen in the Bundesliga since Jurgen Klopp's Dortmund. And that's not me exaggerating. Since Jurgen Klopp's Dortmund, don't think I've seen a more exciting team in the Bundesliga than Leverkusen and Xabi Alonso. So that says a lot to me. Again, couldn't implement his system at Madrid. Had to bin his system because the players wouldn't adapt to it. They wouldn't press. They wouldn't run. So he ended up having to just rely on individual brilliance, which is what most Madrid managers do, to be fair. That's what most of them end up doing. At Liverpool, Alonso will have a proper footballing structure. He'll have players that will respect him because he's a club legend. Our players will actually respect him. Madrid players don't, because obviously at Madrid, they're known for being club legend and that. So, yeah, they'll respect Alonso. And he'll be able to implement his style of play. At Liverpool, we're used to working hard. We're used to winning because we did that under Jurgen Klopp for so much years. We have hard-working players with the right mentality. Alonso will fit right in. Players will instantly buy into his system. And again, it's what we need. It's logical, people. It's logical. This is what needs to happen. You know what I'm saying? We can all see this as fans, which makes me wonder why on earth are the club unable to see it? Why can the clubs not see it? Why can we as fans see that this is just perfect in every sense of the word perfect? But the fans, the hierarchy at the club don't see it. They want to be stubborn and persist with something. It's just annoying. But I have faith. I have a lot of faith that Alonso will be our next manager. And I've got faith that next season will be better. You know what I'm saying? Let's just try and get something this season, a trophy, and then we go again next year with a new manager. Fingers crossed we get it right this time and we can be upbeat again. You know what I'm saying? I didn't expect to be sat here this downbeat and depressed, but the season's made me like this. You know what I'm saying? The season has made me like this. So yeah, man. We'll see where it goes. We will see where it goes. But yeah, that's it for today, people. I've enjoyed the stream again. Big up to everyone again who tuned in. I'm liking doing this whole live stuff, so I'm going to be doing this a lot more sooner. Definitely. I'm going to keep doing it every day. So yeah, tomorrow I'll be doing my match preview for the Nottingham Forest game. So predicted 11, score prediction, and thoughts and feelings on the game. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it as a live or if I'm going to do it as a pre-record yet. I'll decide. But yeah, that'll be dropping or airing tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, people, quick world call to everyone before I head out. Big up Joshy J, man. Big up, man. Big up Yeti. Big up Adam Partridge. Big up yourself, Adam. Big up AJ, of course, legend in the building. Big up yourself, man. Big up Dansham. Big up Winston. Who else was in the building earlier? And big up AFC always as well, man. Big up yourselves, man. Big up to everyone in this building. And yeah, I'll speak to you guys soon. Stay tuned tomorrow. There's more content dropping. Appreciate everyone in the building. We want to roll with the live streams, and I'm just going to keep on rolling. So yeah, big up to everyone. Speak to you all soon. Liverpool Profit out. Peace. Up the Reds. Let's go.